On today's video, we're going to talk about Fire Force Season 1. So let's go. So Fire Force Season 1, I've been wanting to talk about this ever since we finished watching it, because there was something about it that was so refreshing. It was like drinking, you know what I'm saying, like a mixed drink. You know, when you go to a bar and you've never heard of it before, it's like you go to like a tavern or something and you have this drink and you've never had it before, and you drink it and you're just like, that was refreshing and new. That's what Fire Force felt like a little bit. It had that sort of flair to it for me. And one of the reasons why is, I think the art. I think the creator of Soul Eater, who has now jumped on and created Fire Force, really has that very interesting art style that I really do enjoy. In Soul Eater, you know, like the first early ones of the manga were a little bit rough for me, honestly. Like, I was like, okay. It's kind of like when I first read Zatchbell, I was like, I don't know if that's actually that good. But later on, obviously, he gets better. But in Fire Force, perfect. The art for Fire Force is great. And there's so many things about this anime, especially Season 1. I'm strictly talking about the anime that worked and some things that didn't work. So I'm just going to start out with the things that didn't work, so I leave on a positive note. So what didn't work for me for the anime on Season 1 of Fire Force? Well, first off, you know, the main thing that I'm just going to get it out of the way, because I know everybody doesn't like it, and that's their honestly main reason why they don't like it and why they'll just drop it, is how the fan service that they put, like with the women specifically, in this anime. Whereas, like, I know there's some people that, you know, they're used to that and that's what they're used to in shonen and it's whatever. But like, for me, it's just like, I felt like there was too much of it in the anime. There was an abundance of it. There's a character who, like, her whole thing is she's like clumsy and she somehow falls on Shinra, and somehow her boobs are on his face now. Fuck. Now they both feel awkward. It was never meant to be, but it just happened to happen. Oh, she happened to have all her clothes. Like, it was just too convenient. I didn't like it. And so I'm gonna get that out of the way, because I know a lot of people judge this anime really hard on that, which, listen, I understand. I get it. I'm not saying I like it. I don't. I think that's the main first one. Then there's a couple other things that didn't work for me. Second being the plot. And what I mean by the plot is, I mean, there was something about it that this is a double-edged sword, because it's also a part, like, half of it didn't work and half of it worked for me. And I know this is gonna sound confusing, but give me a break. Okay, so like half of it didn't work because for some moments it felt like it was kind of lost. It felt like the plot sort of went into different ways and it sort of didn't interconnect. And so, like, for example, the Joker would come up out of nowhere. You'd be like, who is this guy? you'd be interested, but then that storyline doesn't really get touched up on. He's just a character that pops up every now and then. But we don't know his reasoning, and we don't know his relationship to Shinra and why he's following him. We know that Shinra has an Adola's burst, which makes him like special, and that's what makes him like this shonen protagonist, right? Is he's really powerful, and so that we get that. But it's like, what else? Give me something else. What are we doing here? But so sometimes the plot does feel like it's not like, oh, this happened because of that. It's just like, oh, this happened, and now we're doing this. Now we're doing that. Now, and it just sort of like flows a little too conveniently. And then the last thing, specifically, the villains are a little, I don't know if I want to say bad, but they were kind of like, huh? Like, I think at the end of it, I sort of was like, okay, I want to see more into like the backstory of who's actually running this shit. Like with the, I forgot what they're called, but like the white clad. It just came to me. The white clad, you know, they're wearing the priestess white shit, the clothing. You know, they seem badass at first, right? And Shinra's brother, spoilers, is there and front and center. What I didn't like is that these dudes are supposed to be like the biggest thing, right? All of the Fire Force are like, we don't mess with this. We're trying to figure out who's infiltrate. Why? How are they in? How? It seems like this big conspiracy, right? And then near the end of the season, they just walk up to their porch. They just walk up, bruh. They just walk up and say, and they're just like, pull up, fam. We here. And then they just have a battle. Like, they were there the whole time, bro. Like, what kind of conspirators are just there in plain sight? Well, we're just led to believe that these villains were here the whole time and nobody pulled up. Nobody dared to pull up to them and be like, we gotta go whole 8 Fire Force squads, 8, 10, 11. That'll fuck your shit up. Because it's only a handful of what? People, now I get it that there's some like Adola's, the Adola fire burst that Shinra has is very key and very important to like the main clad, but you don't get that until like the very end when Shinra's fighting his brother and you sort of see that sort of like flashy type of effect. Otherwise, these motherfuckers really just pulled up and said, "What's up, fam?" And then just Shinra was like, "I'm taking my brother back." Like, you could have did that in the first episode. Just pull up. Like, they were there the whole time. There's no secret. What? I was expecting them to like have to go through hoops in order to find where they're hiding out. No, everybody knows where they're hiding out. There's no secret. And so the thing that really made me upset is it lost weight. Like they're sort of like terror and effectiveness as a villains sort of lost it for me. Like Shinra's brother, I definitely thought he was awesome. I definitely thought he was the best one. But other than that, everybody else, I was like, they're interesting for sure, interesting characters, but like they're not terrifying because it's like they're right there out in the open, bro. Like waiting to get their shit fucked up. And it's just like it finally took Shinra and his Fire Force squad to finally pull up. Like, it took you this long? Like, it don't make sense to me. It really just don't make sense. And that's the one thing that really just irritated me out of the whole season, was just like, bro, we just gonna pull up now. Like, this is something we just gonna do out of the blue because it happens to be the last part of the season. We gonna pull up and now we gonna have some fight scenes. This could have happened earlier. You know, like, there's no plot reasoning as to why they pull up other than Shinra's gotta get his brother, so they're gonna go get his brother. But it's like they could have just did that earlier because everybody damn near knows where these people are. Like, what? So that was my biggest thing that didn't work for me for the season. Now, moving on to what worked. So what worked about Fire Force Season 1? Well, the first thing that worked was the art. The art is the one thing I cannot ignore. It's beautiful the way that they animated it. And the studio that animates Fire Force, props, bro. Because every episode felt like I was watching an anime movie. Not a show. A movie. Like, I was like, bro, what? What kind of, like, the cinematography too? It was like they were treating it like film. Like, this was like they were shooting it on film. Like, it was crazy. Sometimes you get scenes of, like, you know how like anime, you know, they reuse, like Naruto, for example. I don't want to hate on Naruto or anything, but like like sometimes they'll have the characters talking and I'm just like, okay, this looked dumb. But in Fire Force, they'll have like the characters facing away from the camera, and you'll get to see this big horizon line, right? And you get to see the sky, and it's like beautiful and everything. And you don't see them talking; you just hear them talking, and right there, you just feel it. You don't need to see them talking. You don't need to see them go. Like, you know what I mean? The scene is set, and then the mood is set. Instead of just having like two characters go, like, it's just the way that they treat conversations in the show is very film inspired. That's what it seems like. The shots are selected very like properly, and it felt all like fresh. And it's something I hadn't felt since Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where like they treat sort of like the dialogue with a lot of care, in the sense that they're not just going to give you two characters sitting down and talking unless that's the intent. And it all weighs on intent. And the intent is important in Fire Force Season 1 because it seems like they really got a grasp as to what their intent is for every single conversation that the character is having. Can we also talk about the score, though? That's one thing that really did work for me, because holy crap, like, add in the animation that has like a film aspect to it, and then on top of that, the music that has even more film feeling. Like the way that they just go into like melodramatic, and then they just go into regular anime music for fighting scenes. It's crazy. And the way they treat sort of like different spaces and different characters' themes is beautiful, like beautifully well done. I mean, honestly, if we want to talk about also the opening, I mean, like, the first opening for Fire Force is fire. No pun intended. Like, it's really good. Like, the first anime opening for it is fire. The second one's not as good as the first one, but it's still good. But the first one, bro, oh my gosh, beautiful. Like, one of the best anime open. Definitely on, like, probably if you look it up on YouTube, it's probably on, like, the top 10 already. But, yeah, so the music in Fire Force is great. Like, the soundtrack is beautiful. Like, I instantly went on Spotify. I was like, is this on? And then as soon as I found it, I was like a kid. I was like, oh shit, because it's good. It's really good. It's like one of those soundtracks you definitely want to listen to again and again and again and again. I think one of the biggest themes for me for Fire Force that works is Shinra. He's not your average, and I feel like Shonen is evolving, and I feel like we're seeing this now. And I'm gonna tease, but like, there's a new series out called Kaiju Number 8. I'm gonna do a review on it. That has this same feeling that this Fire Force character has, where in the sense he's not your typical protagonist. Like, you know what I mean? He smiles when he's off. Like, the character of him is very interesting and different. Where instead of like being like your regular Naruto who's gonna protect and save the world, Shinra, when he's awkward, he smiles and looks like a devil. Like, bro, who? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's definitely your main shonen protagonist in the sense that he does come up last minute and protect and help and save, and that's all great. But he's also different in the sense that his reasoning for being the person who he is very understandable, and it's very also relatable, because it comes from a sense of, like, for example, in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, they lost their mom, right? And it's very dark and tragic. Shinra lost his mom as well, and his brother, and then he gets an ounce and a look as to possibly finding his brother. That pushes him even further, because his first motivation is, I'm gonna become the best Fire Force agent that will be renowned as a hero, because I'm not gonna let anyone else experience what I experienced. That's some Batman type shit. And then once he sees his brother, he's like, okay, now I'm gonna push myself even farther, because I gotta get my bro back. And then at the end of the season, I'm just gonna say, if you don't want it to get it spoiled, I'm gonna count down 3, 2, 1. He sees his mother, bro. And even add that extra layer for season 2. extra layer of motivation. So they lay on the first set of motivation, they lay on a second layer of motivation, and now they're on a third one. And it makes me want to see Shinra's story more, because it's not like, oh, he's here to just protect the world. Like, there's reasonings behind it. There's reasons why he wants to be a certain way. And also, the one thing that did work for me was the characters. I know for some people they don't work. And, you know, I can see that because some of them don't get as... I don't feel like they treat all of the characters with enough justice. However, the characters, you cannot deny, are good. They are really good. They are all different. They all bring something different. Unfortunately, they just don't share enough screen time as they should. Or they shouldn't. They are not as explored as much as they should be. But I think that they work for me because they do bring a different element to the story. And they bring something different to every scene. And that's something that works for me. Before I end this review, I want to talk about one of the big things that made me go from enjoying this anime to really, really liking it. And that was the pivotal scene. Again, spoilers if you don't want to be spoiled. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. The fight scene between Shinra and his brother. Can we just talk about how superior that shit was? Holy, you may not like Fire Force, but if you were to like watch that fight scene secluded, the animation that they put on that fight scene was some shit you don't see unless you watch an anime movie, because that's where they spend all the budgets. But they don't put it on this, bro. It was some of the. I'm going to say it. It was the best fight scene I have seen in anime in a long time. Dare I say, one of the best fight scenes. It was literally that good. I mean, dude, it also just, the fight scene itself, you know, there's something about fight scenes that the reason why they go from being like Goku and Vegeta when they first fight, the reasons why that fight for us as Dragon Ball fans means so much is because of the weight. You know, like the fight itself speaks values. They don't need to explain anything. The fight explains it in the fight itself. And that's exactly what you get with Shinra and his brother. The fight explains so much about the rest of the story. I mean, Shinra breaks the time barrier like on some Flash shit and goes to another dimension where his brother is at, where he resides, in order to stop time. My brain was like gone, but the way that they animated it too, it was just great. It was beautiful, and I just can't go without saying that that was just one of the best fight scenes I had ever seen in anime in a long time. But that's gonna do it for this review of Fire Force. You guys let me know if you agree with my take on it. I think for Fire Force, season 1, I definitely give it about like a 8 out of 10, 80% if you will. Because I think there's definitely some things that don't work about it, but it doesn't hamper your enjoyment. Like, if you really want to watch an anime that you want to enjoy, Fire Force season 1 definitely will give you that, and it'll make you hyped for season 2. And I am already hyped for season 2, and I can't wait to watch it. Hopefully you guys can't either, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you did, and like the video if you did. I will catch you guys in the next video. All right, have an awesome day. Stay safe, and if you haven't seen Fire Force season 1, why are you watching this? Go watch Fire Force season 1.